Faneuil Hall has been one of the biggest aspects on Boston's history. Created by Peter Faneuil in 1742, Faneuil Hall has served as many things to the colonists of Boston. Faneuil Hall was constructed to have a marketplace on the first floor for anyone to come in and get food for anything they wanted. In the early 18th century, Boston had a number of merchant families amazed by great wealth through shipping and trade. Codfish caught off the coast were dried, salted, and traded in the West Indies for molasses and rum. In return, these products were exchanged in Europe for manufactured goods or along the west coast of Africa for slaves. One of the wealthiest Boston merchants who participated in this was Peter Faneuil. Peter proposed to mark his success by building a central food market in his hometown. The merits of creating a permanent marketplace had long been debated in Boston, and all previous attempts had failed. Boston voters accepted Faneuil's idea after a much heated debate. After finally being constructed in 1742, it opened the lower half as a market. The lower half of the hall was divided into stalls which were leased for market purposes. Meat, vegetables, and dairy products could be purchased in their convenient, regulated surroundings on a regular basis. Also, the location was a big part of the marketplace succeeding. Since it was right near the ports, produce would come off the ships and then be right at the market within the hour. Faneuil Hall has a second level. This floor became Boston's official town hall. Here in public session, Bostonians debated issues, elected town officials, voted local taxes, and spent town money. The town meetings held in Faneuil Hall should only have concerned themselves with local issues. In the mid-1700s, however, the discussion turned to the taxation policies of the British Empire, and Faneuil Hall became the focus of revolution activity in Boston. At the times, protest meetings at the hall spilled over into incidents of violence in the streets. Under the leadership of Samuel Adams, Dr. Joseph Warren, and other Sons of Liberty, debates led to opposition to the sugar tax of 1764, the Stamp Act of 1765, and other British political maneuvers. In 1773, sessions took place in the hall concerning a newly arrived consignment of tea and the tax to be paid on it. With the adoption of the city charter in 1822, government by town meeting ended and the hall was no longer the center of political activity. However, it remained the forum for the debate of national issues. Anti-slavery advocates held numerous rallies in the 1840s and 50s featuring speeches by William Lloyd Garrison, Wendell Phillips, Charles Sumner, and Frederick Douglass. Faneuil Hall was one of the most sturdy buildings for its time. In 1761, Faneuil's hall interior burned in a massive fire. 2 years later, repairs were complete, this time financed by a public lottery. It was this structure that the first rumblings of the American Revolution were left. After the Revolution, the size of Faneuil Hall became inadequate to meet the needs of the growing town. In 1805, Boston called upon Charles Bulfinch, one of America's foremost architects, to expand Faneuil Hall. In a masterful design, Bulfinch doubled the width and height of the building without altering its basic style. The market area was enclosed by heavy doors, and a new Bulfinch interior was installed in the meeting room, which remains vertically unchanged today. A ton of Boston's history revolves around Faneuil Hall in some aspect. Ever since it opened in 1742, it has made history in Boston. It was one of the only successful public marketplaces in Boston, and which mostly because of its location right near the ports. Also, the meeting hall made a huge impact on history in Boston. It was where the trials for the Boston Massacre were held and discussions that led up to the Revolutionary War. Even though it was damaged in the Revolutionary War, the Bostonians remodeled it and brought it back to life for everyone to see today.